Next tonight, and domestic abuse is a harrowing and challenging issue when it involves adults, but when children are the victims, well, it moves into a whole new dimension.
Now, two teenage girls from Essex are speaking out about their experiences of abuse at home to help others in a similar situation. They've become ITV fixers, young people wanting to change something in their community.
Drawing on their own lives, they've now produced a leaflet giving some advice. We're protecting their identities in this report.
I'm 18 years old and I'm from Essex. I was abused by my stepfather and it started at the age of 6. I felt really confused because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was wrong or right at the time, but I was too scared to say anything.
I'm 17 years old and I'm also from Essex. I was quite young at the time, probably about 11 or 12 when I first started experiencing domestic abuse. I'd go home sometimes and I wouldn't be allowed in, or I wouldn't be allowed my dinner and they would hit me. It made me feel alone and very scared.
I decided to speak out about domestic abuse because it does happen every day.
Domestic abuse comes in many forms. There's physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse and neglect.
A lot of young people don't say anything because they're scared of who won't believe them. In my case, I didn't believe my mum would believe me, friends wouldn't believe me and I'd be left on my own.
Our ITV Fixers project is about getting young people aware of the different sorts of abuse and the help that is available.
We want to make a leaflet to distribute to schools. In this leaflet we have different signs and symptoms, types of abuse and people who can help.
So we've got our first shot in the common room here.
Today ITV Fixers have arranged for a photographer to come down and take photographs of a series of different scenarios which will feature in our leaflet.
What about the models? How do you sort of portray those in the room?
We want them to look really depressed. A lot of people feel like that, so we really want them to look alone, secluded from the rest of the family.
The second shot when we're looking at speaking with a counsellor.
We want it to look really professional, really bright and light. It's a positive picture, so we want it to look positive.
Right, OK, and then when we go into the third shot.
We want them to be sitting in a fetal position, we want them to look quite sad, quite alone. Something has happened literally 5 seconds before.
For the more severe makeup, what were you thinking?
I'm thinking more of like a black eye, maybe like a split lip or a split eyebrow.
Now look at me. Chin.
What I'm hoping is that young people pick up the leaflet and realise that if they're experiencing any form of abuse, that they'll go and talk to people, they'll go and get help. It's just a starting point, but they first need to realise that what's happening to them is wrong.
Often it's difficult to recognise the signs simply because the individual doesn't necessarily know that it's happening to them. They don't understand if it's an environment they've grown up in. And often the abuser is controlling and manipulative, so the person is very scared.
What do you think of that now it's got all the photos in place?
Oh wow, that is what we wanted. I think the different types of pictures are really good, like where it shows, you know, the family together, it shows the young person being on their own. And on the picture of the bruises, it does show how extreme it can be if nothing's said. As a final piece, it looks brilliant.
The campaign is so important because it's going to help the individual to get help and also professionals, family, friends and loved ones to recognise the signs.
What I want to do is to go out into local schools, hand out this leaflet and spread the word around.
Our message is speak out, be heard and move forward.
Well, if you need any more information on that, just visit itvfixers.com or you can call 01223 65515. Now, this is a non-premium rate call. Your network operator rates will apply from a BT landline. Calls from other networks may be higher, however, and from mobiles will be considerably more.
Also, make sure you seek the bill payer's permission before phoning. The lines close on the 31st of December 2010 at 5 o'clock. Calls made after the closing time will not be answered but may still be charged.
Well, as ever, the News Hour continues right here on ITV1 in a couple of minutes. And here's a taste of what the national team have coming up for you. Yep, that's all coming up. Now, from us, sometimes they're a distant addition to a wander through town. Sometimes they're amusing or out of tune. But how much attention do you give to Buskers, I wonder?
That out of tune sounds like your karaoke, I think. Well, if you're in Cambridge over the next few days, it'll be hard to miss them. Yes, the third Buskers and Street Performers Festival is taking place in the city. And as Victoria Webb found out, there's a lot of talent among the acts.
Some have been busking for years.
Don't you know, talking about a revolution sound.
For others, they're new to the spotlight. Despite stepping out onto the streets for the first time at last year's festival, Gavin Adam Wood was voted the people's favourite, and he's hoping to impress them this year too.
It gives people a sort of a real presence, and people start to appreciate them for what they really are. The diversity encourages people out, so I was encouraged out last year.
And on day one of the festival, there were plenty of people to play to.
This is quite nice. I think it's a really good idea. This is nice weather, and yeah, you can enjoy it. It's outside.
Just wandering around street corners and coming across extraordinary things like this, it's absolutely lovely.
I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Very nice indeed. We haven't seen everybody, but we've seen a lot of them.
As well as musicians, there are comedians and children's entertainers. Actually, there are 50 acts taking part in this three-day festival, showing the variety of performers that can regularly be seen in the city centre. It also raises awareness of the street performers' code of practice. Among other things, making sure buskers know they can only play in a certain area for no more than an hour and not to return to that pitch on the same day.
The streets are a great place to practice, and especially younger performers, like to come out here and they've got a ready audience here. And it's just a great place to practice, and it's a lovely atmosphere. People love to watch the street entertainers.
The festival will continue for the next 2 days. Rod Stewart was discovered whilst busking, so there may be a future star among these performers.
You can stand by
Victoria Webb, Anglia News, Cambridge.
Hey, it's almost like an X Factor for buskers, isn't it?
It is.
What would your musical instrument of choice be then?
Oh, I don't know. I'm terrible at music. Probably spoons or something like that.
I played the recorder as a child.
Did you? You wouldn't have gone for the sort of the blow-up little doggies?
Yeah,
there,
not sure anyone paid to listen to me.
All of those buskers must be hoping that Simon Cowell wasn't out there having a nice lunch in Cambridge. He wouldn't be able to resist himself. Beep, no.
Let's have a look at the weather now. Here's Amanda.
Well, Rhiannon will be here with the late bulletin. I know you're reporting tomorrow, but this is the last time I'm going to be sitting with her on the seat here because she's off to pastures new.
I certainly am. I can't believe it. I've been with Anglia for 4 years and it has been so much fun. I've worked with some amazing people and done some absolutely incredible things. Can't believe it's my job, really. Flying with aerobatic teams, running around after racing drivers.
Well, from all of us here, have a great time.
Thank you very much.
See you again, no doubt, at some stage.
See you for the late news. Bye-bye.